The wait is over, and we finally learn the fate of Peter and Phaedra during the latest banishment, and how it ended up being short-lived for the survivor.
I tried to save you guys.
And that's where Peter went wrong. He seemed to have anointed himself as some saviour of the faithfuls. I didn't think alienating half the contestants was a good way of trying to save them. Yes, the point is to find traitors, but you've also got to survive to the end. I was going to come up with an articulate way of explaining where Peter went wrong. Then I saw a Reddit comment a few days ago that captured some of what I want to say. It's really simple. A useful way to illustrate how bad Peter is to compare him to Sandra. Peter wanted to keep Parv, while Sandra wanted to keep Phaedra. Why is it that Peter is about to get himself banished and Sandra has not even been voted once? Because Sandra obviously understands the basics, which Peter doesn't. You can work with the traitor, you just don't say it out loud. Peter did. You can have alliances, just don't make them blatant and obvious to the other players. Peter did. You can easily have private discussions. If someone walks in the room, change the subject. Don't kick them out of the room. Peter did. There's other comments about the clique and how it ended up working against them. If you want to read more, I've pinned the link in the comments. Well, it was inevitable and just a matter of time. Phaedra might have had a reprieve when MJ cast the deciding vote to banish Peter, but Phaedra's stay was short-lived. I will say it again, but CT, MJ and Sandra's votes were always the most important to get on side, and if things were played smarter by a certain group, they would have got Phaedra out before this episode. Throughout the banishments, when she was accused, Phaedra had some epic rebuttals, but this time it seemed like she was out of gas. Throughout the whole season, when push came to shove, she never really gave anything when talking game. In this episode, she didn't provide a convincing alternative to someone else being a traitor.
I don't think she's a traitor. However, she's not doing a great job at defending herself.
You're not even trying.
Kate spent so much time and effort trying to steer others away from Phaedra, but Phaedra gave nothing, especially during this last round table. Throughout the episode, I kept thinking Kate shouldn't be trying so hard to save Phaedra. Her days are numbered, and Kate's championing will just put her own game at risk. Well, that selfish comment at the round table has made Sandra look in Kate's direction. Phaedra wanted to make sure she had the numbers to get to the final, but didn't take into account that by stacking the numbers in her favour, she just ended up providing more evidence that Trishelle was right about her.
Okay, I changed my mind. You guys didn't. That's okay. My heart of hearts, I do think she's a traitor.
Phaedra could be a traitor.
I already know it's Phaedra, but I think you're a traitor.
I'm not doing it anymore. You're on your own.
Even her loyal supporters couldn't see past it, and one by one they voted for her. When you look at how Dan, Parvati and Phaedra went out the game, there were some stark differences. Dan wanted to take Phaedra out by serving up a traitor in hope of saving himself. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a plan from the moment he saw Phaedra was a traitor and then recruited Parvati. Parvati only voted for Phaedra because they were the only two names on the chopping board that week, so she needed to vote out Phaedra. I believe if there was a different name that had a realistic chance of banishment, she would have voted differently. Phaedra didn't vote for Kate, instead voting for CT not only to protect Kate, but the other females. I purposely didn't look too hard into anything that happened prior to their appearance on the show. I wanted to observe and learn about their dynamics during the show. The conversation between Phaedra and Sheree had a dimension that you would only get when contestants have a pre-existing relationship. Phaedra's hesitation is telling. I think there was part of her that didn't want to lie to Sheree, but she had to as part of the game. When you look at the dynamics between CT and Trishelle, that looked to be something about rebuilding trust, which they have. While CT wasn't part of the departed group of faithfuls Trishelle hung out with, I wondered if that was down to Peter's suspicion of CT or Trishelle keeping that alliance separate. Yeah, I didn't want to use those nicknames again. I'm laying that to rest. With Peter banished and John murdered, leaving CT as the only male, it did look like an edition of The Bachelor. While I may question the actual length of time it took, with what looks like only CT and Shishelle being successful in getting the gold across the platforms, watching that challenge has to be one of the funniest things from this season. Even though most of them ended up in the water, it was one of the most entertaining challenges for the wrong reason. Next week sees the final episode where we find out who wins. MJ has the shield, so will escape the next murder. Will Kate take it all? Will two or more from CT, MJ, Sandra, Sheree and Shishelle share the pot? For more talk about the traitors, click on the recommended video or the playlist. Until next time.